It is my privilege to introduce our former head of the Department of Mathematics, Savitribai Phule Pune University, and in some sense a backbone of our department as far as academic programs are concerned. Whenever we need him, he is always there to support us in many academic activities. He worked as a coordinator for CAS also, because as I told you in the very introductory lecture that our department is a Center for Advanced Studies in Mathematics. This is a status given by the UGC, and he looked after CAS coordinator for so many years, and he is actively involved in activities of the NCM, National Center for Mathematics, NBHM, and whatnot. So he is a very well-known researcher in number theory, and now he turned out to be doing some research in ancient mathematics also. He is associated with Consortium of Mathematics and Bhaskaracharya Pratishthan. So with this brief introduction, I request Katre sir to deliver his talk. Katre sir, over to you.
For a nice introduction. I will share my screen.
Yes, sir.
And let me see if it is there. There may be sometimes additional requirements. Are you able to see the screen? I have shared, but I don't know. I'll share. I will again click on that.
Not yet.
Well, am I allowed to share the screen?
Yes, yes. You are co-host. You are co-host.
I think it is selected indoor application that you want to share screen. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes, I think now maybe you are able to see my screen. Is it?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
You can see. Okay, good. So, yes, I now see that I'm able to share. And so, my topic today is Chinese remainder theorem and interpolation.
Hello. So your voice.
Hello.
Yeah. Now audible.
Okay, you are audible. I am audible now. Very good. So the topic is yes, Chinese remainder theorem and interpolation formulae. So Chinese remainder theorem, usually it is a topic from number theory, but that is how it started.
Sound is not coming. Hello.
Hello.
Sound is not coming, sir.
Maybe I will. Let me just see what do we do about it. You can see the file, but am I audible now?
Yes, sir, but file is not visible now. Yeah, file is visible.
File is visible.
Yes, sir.
And also audible. Maybe internet problem, but
yeah, you can continue.
Visible, not audible. So anyway, there is some lag, it appears. So so Lagrange's interpolation formula is one object of study today, which everybody knows. The idea is that you want a polynomial passing through n+1 points. So the
Hello. Sound is not coming, sir.
Oh.
There is okay problem of sound.
Okay, I will try to. Yeah,
maybe internet issue may be there. So
yeah, internet issue is a problem, I think. Maximum. What I will stop sharing and put off my video. I will stop. I think that is one solution usually. Now I will again share
Okay.
the screen. Now I think you are able to hear me.
Yes.
Audio is better.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yes. So I have put off my video now. Only audio is there. So and I am presenting. So Lagrange's interpolation formula gives us a polynomial and f of xi equal to yi. If you want that, what is the formula for such a polynomial? So there are n plus 1 polynomial of degree at most n. So some teachers have some confusion that degree of this polynomial is always n. Usually it is n, but it can be less also. For example, if you take a straight line, then on that straight line you can take n plus 1 points. So it is only a degree 1 equation for that one. So it is possible that a polynomial can be of degree smaller than n also when we have n plus 1 conditions. So that is one general observation. And you can have plenty of polynomials which satisfy our requirement. So that also we study in numerical analysis, that if you know one polynomial fxa which satisfies the property that f of xi equal to yi, then you can just add multiples of the polynomial x minus x naught, x minus x1, x minus x2, the product of all these quantities. So it is an n plus 1 degree polynomial that we can add to this. So take this mx, small m of x is equal to the product x minus. Then that also will satisfy our requirement, because mx has the property any value of the same property, that the value of.
Hello.
So yes,
Sorry,
Again,
sorry. The sound is not coming.
not coming again.
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
You
maybe let me,
it is.
yeah, maybe let me.
You can try switching off your antivirus program. Maybe
Antivirus, I should stop.
so disable for maybe an hour or so. That might solve the problem, because that usually when you start your laptop or device, it starts
Okay.
running and it takes up.
I see. Yeah, but I'm not very much familiar with that one. Stopping that. Let us see. Maybe at least you are able, and maybe from time to time you are able to. So that there is some modular arithmetic used here. That is the polynomial fxa. It is now telling me is that internet connection is unstable.
I think because of the internet issue, it is giving a trouble.
But you can see at least.
Yeah.
You can see. Okay, that's good. So maybe I will say the same thing as far as possible. So inverse modulo m, it is one concept, important concept. and it is congruent to 1 modulo 23. So these numbers 3 and 8, they are inverses of each other modulo 23. Now that idea of inverse, if you take two polynomials, say x square minus 1 and x square plus 1, then their product is x raised to 4 minus 1. And you see that it is x raised to 4 minus 2 plus 1. Now, if you go modulo x raised to 2 plus 1, that comes out to be 1 only. Exactly 1 modulo x raised to 4 minus 2. So similar to numbers, we can say that these two polynomials, x square minus 1 and x square plus 1, are inverses of each other. Inverses of each other modulo x. Just as modular arithmetic for numbers, we can also talk of modular arithmetic for polynomials. So you can go modulo one polynomial and do arithmetic there. That is, we can add two polynomials modulo some other polynomial. You can multiply the two polynomials. You can divide by another polynomial, say mx, and see what happens. Do you get what is the remainder? So that is the congruence idea. So fx is congruent to gx, means the difference between fx and gx is divisible by the modulus. Which are coprime in pairs. Such that each xi is smaller than mi. So xi are non-negative quantities and they are smaller than. The congruence notation, we don't talk of remainders, we just say x is congruent to xi mod mi. X is congruent to means if we know one solution, say x, of this m. So that is the meaning of solution is unique modulo this thing. Okay. Now what is the way in which the solution is obtained? So this is the actual final formula for the solution. The solution is x congruent to x1 m1 m1 dash plus x2 m2 m2 dash, or bar, you can say bar also. I have used the notation bar here for some reason. XR MR MR bar modulo m. So what are these capital Mi? So you take the product m equal to m1 m2 mr. These moduli are there. I am having x congruent to x1 mod m1, x congruent to x2 mod m2, etc. So these moduli m1 m2 mr are there, and their product is m. M is m1 m2 mr. Now capital Mi means you remove one of them. So small mi, if you remove from this, that is capital Mi. So capital Mi is equal to m divided by Mi, or capital Mi you can consider as the product of all these numbers except for Mi. Only you omit Mi and the remaining you take, and their product is capital Mi. And Mi bar, what is Mi bar? it is the inverse of mi mod small mi. It is the inverse of capital Mi mod small mi. So if you calculate this inverse first, then this formula will give you the common solution of this system of congruences. So you can think of a problem like find all x such that x leaves remainder 2 when divided by 7. It also leaves remainder 5 when divided by 13. It also leaves remainder 10 when divided by 23. Find all such x. Such problems can be solved by using this formula, which is a consequence of Chinese remainder theorem. It is not actually proved by any Chinese mathematician from the beginning, but people have developed this formula over a period of time. But since the Chinese people had some examples of this type, some people coined this name Chinese remainder theorem. And Indian mathematicians have also solved such problems. So you will see such problems in the work of Aryabhatta and Bhaskaracharya. And they have given a method called Kuttak method to find the inverse, which is very useful in this thing. So this Chinese remainder theorem and its consequences and see element, and I have given some references for that. So one is the number theory book. I will show you, and also you will get the notes. So two books are there, famous book. So you will see the reference 3 and reference 4, David Burton, Elementary Number Theory, and Nguyen and Zuckerman, Introduction to the Theory of Numbers. So these books have problems and idea of this theorem, Chinese remainder theorem. Now in commutative algebra, and Dr. Ganesh Kadu is also there, so he must have taught also this thing, that the Chinese remainder theorem version is there for the setup of commutative rings. So that we will not see today, but we will see the polynomial version of the Chinese remainder theorem. And that is going to be useful. We will see how that is useful in some problems of interpolation. So those who already had taken a course in number theory, they already know how to prove this formula. But in short, I will tell you how it is done. Can you hear me now? Or still there is problem?
Yes, sir.
Yes, yes,
You are
yes.
audible.
Good, I am audible. That's very good. Yesterday I gave a lecture on in this D.Y. Patil College. So there was big problem at that time also, but I think situation is better right now, because yesterday I even could not present my slides. When I start presenting my slide, immediately it will go off. So today's, I think, situation better. So here you see, look at this formula. If you look at what happens modulo M1, then capital M1 and M into M1 bar, their product is 1 actually modulo small m1, because capital M bar m1, and therefore x1 times m1 bar is congruent to x1 modulo small m1, because M2 is 0, capital M2 is 0 modulo small m1, right? M2 has a factor, capital M2 has a factor small m1. Similarly, capital MR has factor small m1. That means all these second, third, all these terms are 0 modulo small m1, and only first term survives. So x is congruent to x1 modulo small m1. So our condition, required condition is satisfied here. Similarly, x is congruent to x2 modulo small m2. Uniqueness, that if two solutions are there, then their difference is a multiple of small m. So that is the uniqueness. Okay, so now we will go to an example of CIRT. x congruent to 2 mod 3, x congruent to 3 mod 5, x congruent to 5 mod 7. How will you solve this? Using the formula. You can also sometimes do by trial when the numbers are small. But when the numbers are large, really you have to use the formula and go in a systematic manner to get the answer. So as per the notation, M1 is 3, M2 is 5, M3 is 7. These are the three moduli, 3, 5, 7. Now, small m is the product. 3 into 5 into 7 is 105. This is the product of these three quantities. Now, what are of the, so 5 into, that is 35. M2 is 3 into 7, that is 21. M3 is 3 into 5, 15. What are x1, x2, x3? They are these numbers on the right hand side. 2, 3, and 5. x1, x2, x3. So x1 is 2, x2 is 3, and x3 is 5. Now you have to find inverse capital M1 bar of M1. Small m1. Okay. So what we do is we find the remainder when capital M1 is divided by small m1. So M1 is 35, which is congruent to 2 modulo 3. We make it small because two numbers are congruent, then their inverses are also. So 2 mod 3 we have. Now, what is the inverse of 2 modulo 3? That is 2 only, because 2 into 2 is 4, and 4 is 21 is congruent to 1 mod 5. So find the inverse. Inverse is easy to find because inverse of 1 is 1. Now M3. M3 is 15. 15 is 1 mod 7. We are lucky. So what is the inverse of M3? M3 inverse is 1 only. So in this case, M1 bar is 2. M2 bar is 1. M3 bar is also 1. So inverses coincide with these reduced numbers. Of course, this is not always the case. In this case, it is happening that inverse is itself. Now, you use the formula, substitute there, x1, m1, m1 bar plus x2, m2, m2 bar plus x3, m3, m3 bar is, it comes out to be 68. 68 mod 105. Means actually, you get a larger number, but you reduce that larger number modulo 105 and you get 168 as the answer. So this is the common solution. In the congruence notation, the common solution is congruent 68 mod 105. If you want to find all integers, k is in z. So you can add or multiply, add or subtract these multiples of 105. So 105 is small m, which is the product of all the moduli. In this case, the moduli are relatively prime in pairs. That is the condition in Chinese remainder theorem. If they are not relatively prime, also problem can be solved under some conditions, but that we are not looking at here. So we are looking at this problem when the moduli are relatively prime to each other, means in pairs. Okay, now the same thing we can consider for polynomials. So I will state the CRT or Chinese remainder theorem for polynomials. What is it? Suppose M1x. Now I am taking M1x polynomial, M2x, MRx. These are polynomials, non-constant polynomials with real coefficients. Because constant doesn't put non-zero constant. GCD 1. Now f1x, f2x, frx be given polynomials with real coefficients. Then the system of polynomial congruences fx congruent to fix mod mix. M1x, M2x, MRX. So how do you state it in the language of remainders? Given non-constant polynomials M1, M2, MR of degrees D1, D2, DR and relatively prime in pairs, the polynomials Fi of degree less than degree of MRX, they are also given to you. Then there is a unique polynomial fx of and sum of the degrees, which leaves remainder Fix when divided by anything. But here degrees are for our help. And the solution. What is the formula? Summation Fix, Mix, Mi bar x modulo small mx. Small mx is the product of M1x, M2x, MRX. Okay, what is capital Mix? Capital Mix is mx upon mix. That is, it is the product of all other polynomials. Just omit mix. Product of other polynomials is capital Mix. And what is capital Mi bar x? That is a polynomial which works in number or inverse modulo mx. This can be obtained by using Euclid's algorithm. Capital Mi, small mi, their GCD is 1. So 1 is a combination of mi, capital Mi and small mi. You see, you can write 1 as capital Mix into capital Mi bar x plus Mix into Hix for some polynomial Hix. Now, that modulo Euclid's algorithm or also Kuttaka method of Indian mathematicians can be used to find the inverse. It may be surprising at the beginning, but it is actually so. So Lagrange's interpolation formula as a particular case of polynomial CRT. So what we do here, you specialize MIX, take special polynomials, linear polynomials, x minus xi, and you take xi distinct. You take xi, x0, x1, x2 up to xn. These are n plus 1 points and they are distinct points. The advantage of them being distinct is that x minus xi, they are automatically relative. GCD is 1. So once you take these xi distinct, automatically the linear polynomials are relatively prime in pairs. So the condition of Chinese remainder theorem is satisfied when you take xi distinct. Okay, now this is the trick. Value yi at x equal to xi. This is what you want, isn't it? Now, what is this yi in terms of polynomials? If you take the polynomial fx and divide it by x minus xi, what is the remainder? So remainder is actually f of xi, and which you require to be yi, isn't it? We want f of xi equal to yi. So what we know is if we divide fx by x minus xi, then remainder is a constant, isn't it? And that will be yi. If you divide by polynomial of degree 2, then remainder is a polynomial of degree at most 1. Here we are dividing by a linear polynomial. So remainder is a constant. And that constant is the value of the function at xi. Okay. So our conditions are converted into modular equations. The rest is from the Chinese remainder theorem. That our conditions f of xi equal to yi, we are able to convert into congruence conditions fx congruent to yi modulo x minus xi. That means fx minus yi x minus xi. Okay. Now you get the answer immediately. What is the answer? This is magic actually. Once you know Chinese remainder theorem, it is immediate. Fx is congruent to summation yi mi x mi bar. This is the answer. This is the polynomial which gives value minus x naught, x minus x1, x minus xn. And mix equal to mx upon x minus xi. So it is not equal to I. Z is not equal to I. Now, as we know this, we can write capital Mix as the product x minus x naught, x minus x1 up to x minus xn. Omit x minus xi. So I have written the curly bracket here, horizontal curly bracket. That means that term is omitted. So it looks like this. Now you have to find inverse of capital Mix, inverse of capital Mix modulo small mix. What is small mix? Small mix is x minus xi. Now, to find the inverse of mi, that is mi bar x, we write as inverse. What is the first step? We should reduce capital Mi modulo x is divided by x minus xi. But how to find the remainder? The remainder is given by remainder theorem, isn't it? Remainder is given by remainder theorem. And what is the answer? Answer is value of the polynomial at x equal to xi. And what is the value? It is mixi. So you want to find this Ci is a number actually. Ci is a number. Because Ci is the remainder here, I am taking constant Ci, constant polynomial, which is the inverse. So Ci into Mix is congruent to 1 mod x minus xi. You can just put x equal to xi in this. And that is Ci Mixi equal to 1. Okay. Or Ci equal to 1 upon Mixi. So here in inverse will be a constant because reduce mi bar One is the remainder when Ci mix is divided by x minus xi. So by remainder theorem, if you just substitute x equal to xi, then you get that remainder. So Ci mix mixi is equal to 1, or Ci is equal to 1 upon mixi. Ci equal to 1. This is the value of Ci. Ci equal to 1 upon mixi. So what is the inverse of capital Mix modulo small mix? It is 1 upon mixi. So that is mi bar. That is mi bar. Now you substitute here in the formula. Fx is congruent to summation yi mix into Ci. Modulo mx. Modulo mx is very important. Which is congruent to yi mix upon mixi. So what is fx now? Fx is numerator is mix and denominator is mixi. This is the formula. You are just getting as a consequence of Chinese. When you in the Chinese remainder theorem for polynomials, just take mix equal to x minus xi and you get the answer. So this is the proof of Lagrange's interpolation formula. And we have also what are all polynomials? F of xi equal to yi, 0 less than equal to I less than equal to n. These polynomials are given by fx means this polynomial xn, and gx is any polynomial. So you can vary gx and you can get different polynomials which are there. Okay, so we have got all polynomial solutions for this problem. All polynomials we are given by this formula fx plus mx times gx. Okay, so we just see that Lagrange's interpolation formula is the polynomial version of Chinese remainder theorem when the moduli are restricted to linear polynomials. So polynomial fx satisfies f of xi equal to yi. So if you take the curve y equal to fx, then what is the property of this curve? F of xi equal to yi. That means the curve is passing through xi yi. Okay. So the same result we can talk in terms of this curve. The curve y equal to fx is a curve of degree less than equal to n passing through xi yi, 0 less than equal to I less than equal to n. Note that the Lagrange polynomials Lix equal to mix upon mixi, they form a basis of the R vector space of polynomials of degree less than equal to n. Uniquely in terms of these Lagrange polynomials Lix. Remember this form Lix equal to mix upon mixi. And if you write a general polynomial as a combination of Lix, then the coefficients are yi, where yi are the values of the function, polynomial function fx at x equal to xi. Okay. Now we will get a result for partial fractions. Integration, we require partial fractions. So if I have a polynomial fx of degree less than, if the original result here, you divide by product x minus xi, I equal to 0 to n, then you are getting partial fractions. My xi divided by x minus xi. So usually we describe it like this. In the left hand side, you just forget x minus xi. In the remaining part, you put x equal to xi, that is the numerator. So f of xi upon mi xi is the numerator. And so this is the partial fraction expansion of this fx upon product x minus xi. Now you will ask the same question. How do you get partial fraction? Square integration sometimes. So how will you do that? How will you write that? And that we obtained a new formula for Hermite interpolation, which I have not seen in the literature. I have obtained a simpler formula, which I will be explaining today. And for the first time, I am explaining this formula in a lecture. And this thing is going to appear also in the bulletin of the Mathematics Consortium. And this bulletin is available actually from the website of the Math Consortium. So in the bulletin of the Math Consortium, it will be distributed to you by Professor Vinayak Joshi. So this problem you must have read, that we want a polynomial curve y equal to fx. And additional condition, having x, so tangent direction means tan of theta is given to you, or derivative of fx at x equal to xi, that is f dash xi is given to you, that is y dash, y dash. So how to find out this curve y equal to fx passing through xi yi and having given tangent directions yi dash. So yi plus x minus xi into gix. Okay, that means fx is congruent to yi mod x minus xi. But if you also want f dash xi is equal to yi dash, then you can expand in powers of x minus xi, and you will see fx equal to yi plus yi dash into x minus xi plus term x, where hix is some polynomial. Now you want all these conditions to be satisfied. I equal to 1 to r or in this form. Please see carefully. Fx is congruent to yi plus yi dash into x minus xi modulo x minus xi square. Basically, it has some kind of argument, or we know that any polynomial can be expanded in powers of x minus xi. We are just to put x minus xi x by that. That gives you the answer. Okay, now if you want to get a polynomial fx such that fxi equal to yi and f dash xi equal to yi dash, then we proceed to find the solution to the system of polynomial congruences equal to yi and could be brought into a single congruence condition. And it is looking like the format of Chinese remainder theorem, polynomial version of Chinese remainder theorem. Now you use this to the same thing. What is capital Mi or small mix? I have written it in bold because previous one was mix, x minus xi. Here we are having x minus xi square. So I have changed the notation. Bold mix is equal to x minus xi square. Bold mx is equal to product of all of them. Product of x minus xi square. Now script mi. What is script mi? Earlier small mi was mx upon x minus xi. Now I am taking script mix is equal to that bold mx upon x minus xi square. That means product of others. Okay. So if I equal to 0, m naught x. What is m naught x? Remove x minus x naught square. So it is the product of x minus x1 square into x, so x minus x2 square, ultimately x minus xn square, like that. That is capital M naught x. Similarly, capital MIX, but I am writing script here for that, capital. So we want to find the inverse, MI bar. MI bar, that means you should find out MI bar such that MI, capital MI, or script MI into MI bar is congruent to 1 modulo x minus xi square. Now, remainder theorem is not enough here. Note that modulo x minus xi square, what happens? The polynomial looks like a linear polynomial. We write mi bar in the form ai plus bi into x minus xi. Mi bar we take in this form ai plus bi into x minus xi. Is the reason clear to you? Because we are going modulo x minus xi. The constant and linear will survive x minus xy. So you are trying to solve this congruence mi into ai plus bi into x minus xi is congruent to 1 x square. How finding ai is actually simple. You put x equal to xi. So yeah. Minus xi is 0. Mi xi into ai is equal to 1 because the other part becomes 0. Other part becomes 0. Okay. So differentiate this equation, left hand side as well as right hand side, and then put x equal to xi. So this is a product of two polynomials, and mix, take derivative of that. So d dx of mix at x equal to xi multiplied by second polynomial as it is, plus derivative of second polynomial is bi, and first polynomial as it is mixi, but you should put x equal to x. When you are left with ai times d dx of mix at x equal to xi plus bi into mixi. Out of this, you know ai and you know mixi, you can find out bi. Somehow is what I find. I have referred to two books. The names of the two books I will give. But this calculation is not done. What people do is they expand mix and then take derivative and then put x equal to xi. That is what is done in books. Or they have a variation of this. But the result is kept in terms of derivative. But what we do here is we actually find the derivative and put x equal to xi. See what happens. Capital Mi is product of, so this is the calculation now. You have to be patient. It is slightly clumsy. Mix equal to product x minus xj square and j not equal to I. J not equal to I. So what is the derivative? Derivative of this is summation derivative of, so this is a product of many things, isn't it? Product of n terms, because total n plus 1 terms are there. So there are j not equal to I, n terms are there. So you take derivative of one of them and keep. So what we are doing, I am taking the derivative of the jth term 2 times x minus xj. And the remaining terms means k is not equal to j. I am taking product x minus xk square. K is not equal to j. And k is not equal to I also, because already j is not equal to I. So that k I am variable, taking variable. And it is not equal to j also, because jth term I have taken derivative. Put x equal to xi here. So j not equal to I summation into curly bracket, put x equal to xi. So 2 times xi minus xj. Product of xi minus xk square. But this k is not equal to j and k is not equal to I. Now I do a modification here. I will write x minus xj as x minus xj square upon xi minus xj. These two I will take out. So 2 is taken out and xi minus xj is written as x minus xj square upon xi minus xj. What is the advantage? The advantage is now k is not equal to j and I. K is not equal to j and I. So it is xi minus xj. So this there is you can make a change of notation, I think here. So it is product xi minus x, yeah, j and I are omitted, but now I am getting this additional term. So j I can as well take here. Take k equal to j, but k equal to z term is here. K equal to z term is here. That I am incorporating in the product. So it will become product k not equal to I only. This term, you will get product k not equal to I. And what is that? That is exactly MIXI. Okay. What is MIXI? See, MIX is here. Product j not equal to I x minus xj square. Only I is omitted. All other terms are there. So this is MIXI upon xi minus xj. This is a simplification for the derivative. It looks still complicated, but at least it is looking better. Derivative of MIX at x equal to xi is 2 times summation MIXI upon xi minus xj. Now you will see by equation 4. What is 4? This is 4. AI derivative MIX x equal to xi plus it is known to us. What is MI? AI? It is 1 upon MIX xi. 1 upon MIXI. And BI, because we know now upon MIXI, that is the value of AI, into 2 times summation MIXI upon xi minus xj, they not equal to. Remember, MI bar x was linear of AI, and we have all. So, by the way, you just remember this MIXI gets cancelled. MIXI. Now, fx is congruent to yi plus. Remember formula fi into mi bar is our formula summation. Fi is yi plus yi dash x minus xi, which is we are putting here. Okay. Mi as it is, and mi two times x minus xi into summation 1 upon xi minus xj, j not equal to I. This mx. This now x minus xi square into mix equal to mx. This we are using for simplification. And x minus xi is here and here also. So when you take the product x minus xi into this term x minus xi into mix into x minus xi, that term can be omitted because we are going modulo mx. Therefore, what remains? Only that you take. And you will see this mix is there common. Upon mix is there common here. The rest of the things you can put into bracket. yi dash into x minus xi. That is this times so we get these three terms and modulo mx. Now Lix is mix upon mixi is Lix, isn't it? What is Lix? Mix upon mix. Remember, Li was just this product x minus xj upon product xi minus xj. That was Li. So this quantity is square of our Lagrange polynomial Lix. Okay. So script Lix is equal to Lagrange polynomial Li square. Okay. And we have this notation beta I. Beta I is equal to yi dash. It is the coefficient of x minus xi. Yi dash minus 2 times yi summation 1 upon xi minus xj. So we have a simple formula fx congruent to summation yi plus beta I into x. Fx equal to summation polynomial fx of smallest degree satisfying fxi equal to yi and f dash xi equal to yi dash for the n plus 1 values of I equal to 0 to n plus 0 to n. It is the polynomial f yi dash minus 2 times yi summation 1 upon xi minus xj. So this is the answer. And all polynomials satisfying these conditions are fx plus gx times mx, where mx means product of x minus bold m, because it is square of that polynomial. Okay. This also gives the curve y equal to fx passing through xi y and having tangent direction yi dash at xi yi. We have, for the same vector space, there are plenty of bases. So for Lagrange polynomials, they were forming a basis of the vector space of polynomials of degree less than equal to n. Whereas here in this solution, we are using a basis consisting of Lix and x minus xi into Lix. So n plus 1. Lix is of degree exactly 2n, and this is of degree 2n plus 1. X minus xi into Lix is of degree 2n plus 1. And even a linear polynomial and all these polynomials of degree less than equal to 2n plus 1 can be written as combinations of these two polynomials. 2 means actually I equal to 0 to n. Interesting that you have this special basis we are using for the vector space of polynomials of degree less than equal to n plus 1. Okay. Now application to partial fractions. See, suppose you want to expand this 1 upon fx upon I equal to 0 to n x minus x square into partial fractions. How will you do? So you already have this formula with us. You divide throughout by product x minus x square. So Li upon this product gives you 1 upon x minus x. Partial fractions of fx upon product x minus x square, they are like this. yi upon mixi x minus x square new denominator plus beta I upon mixi denominator x minus xi I equal to 0 to n. These are the partial fractions. These are required for integration, as you know. Once you have in this form, you can immediately integrate. The application of this formula. Now Hermite actually obtained this such an interpolation formula, but he obtained in a different way. So just for your reference, I am giving you Hermite h2n plus 1 equal to yi hni x plus yi dash h cap or h hat ni x. His formula are in terms of derivative of L, Lagrange polynomial, but he does not simplify it, or at least it is not seen in the literature. But we have in the simplified form the answer, so it is directly usable. I have seen a book in which what they do, they find the derivative, then simplify, and then get the result. But we are not doing like that. We can directly get the answer. I will tell you the speciality. These are called as this h2n plus 1 is called Hermite polynomial. But it is Hermite interpolation polynomial. Remember, in the literature there are Hermite polynomials which are orthogonal polynomials, which are studied in functional analysis course. They are different than Hermite interpolation formula. But Hermite has obtained in some incomplete manner because he doesn't find derivative and simplify. But I will tell you the speciality of these polynomials. See, h cap are such that when I put x equal to hnix is 0 when you derivatives of all these polynomials are 0 actually. So you get contribution for derivative from second term and contribution for the value from the first term. That dash x upon mi xi. This is what you can see. We have proved that essentially. And so we get li dash xi equal to 1 upon summation 1 upon xi minus xi, and then our formula give the Hermite formula. In another book, Hermite interpolation formula is obtained in terms of derivative of mx, where mx means the product x minus x naught into x minus x1 into x minus xn. That is actually mx. And its derivative and its double derivative is in the formula for h2n plus 1. But we don't require that. And I will show you here in this proof that, but I will not go through the derivation of this. You can actually see the derivation. It is slightly complicated, but you can always do it. But we don't have much time for that one. So m double dash xi upon xi require, but you will
Hello, sir. Hello. Your
Yeah,
PPT is not okay visible, sir.
yeah, screen is not visible and voice is also.
Also, yes, because sound is not okay
I
coming.
think we have lost him.
Some problem.
Let us wait for a minute for him to come back. I'm not sure. He seems to have unstable connection. He's there in the list of participants. So wait a minute. Huh? So wait for a minute or so. Let us. He's trying. He's there in the meeting, but there's some problem. So wait for a minute or so. I just called him up.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes, now we can see you.
Yes. So I'll put me off again. Means my video will be off, but I will start.
Yes.
It is saying host disabled participant screen sharing. So
Wait a minute. I can see. See, I think you are a
now
co-host. So you,
I am
you should
able
be
to,
able to share.
yes. So now I am able to, yes, share. Yes. So I am able to share, I think.
Yes, we can see your screen now.
The screen very good. So what I was saying was that there are two formulae of Hermit in different books. So one formula is this one. Plus summation yi dash cap. This formula can be derived by using the theorem 4 that I have proved, because here we require derivative of Li, but we can show that the derivative is actually mi dash upon mi xi. This is the derivative which we can show, and then using that we can establish this. So the notes are with people, so I will not explain this now. I have explained partly, but probably if you have missed it, it's okay. Another formula, it is there in the books. I am giving the references of these two books. This is reference number 1. I will show you at the end. In that book, this is a Russian book in which this formula is given. It is also in terms of derivative. On mi at xi is 2 times summation 1 upon xi minus 1. So if you see this, use this, then you are that is this is Hermit's interpolation formula. The formulae for higher derivatives are not so good, and they are. So I will tell you how higher interpolation can be done, again using polynomial CRT. So what you do, suppose you want to incorporate more derivatives, then fx is equal to fa plus f dash a x minus a plus 1 upon 2 factorial f double dash a x minus a square, etc. Therefore, a polynomial fx having values fxi, f dash xi, f mu I xi, suppose all the derivatives up to mu ith order you want, then I can write this in terms of congruence condition aix square up to 1 upon mu I factorial y mu I into x minus xi raised to mu I, where the values of yi dash, yi double dash, that is various derivatives of higher order, are already given to you. And all these conditions you can put into single congruence condition fx congruent to aix mod x minus xi raised to mu I plus 1. And now note that these mu I can vary. That is, for one point you are given only up to first derivative. For another point you are given up to second derivative. For another point you are given up to seventh derivative information. Whatever it is, you can run the formula like this. And therefore, now the same technique. What is the final answer? One. And mix is mx upon x minus x raised to mu I plus 1. Mix mod. Satisfying these conditions can be So you can, I give you one example how it is to be done. If all derivatives are first derivatives, then we have already seen the formula. But when variable things are there, how to do it? So look at these conditions. F of -1 equal to +1. F of 0 equal to -1. F dash 0 is -3. F double dash 0 is 0. So three conditions are given. 0. 1 given. 1 is -3. F dash 1 is 2. So note that we have to give all these conditions consecutively. You cannot omit derivative but put second. Polynomials are x. I equal to 1, 2, 3. M1x is x plus 1. This one we are for 1, we are given two conditions, -3. Conditions are fx congruent to aix mod mix. I equal to 1, 2, 3. Now a1x is 1. A2x is -1 -3x because derivative is given to be -3. Yeah, second derivative becomes 0. You will get -5 plus 2x. So we have m1x is x cube into x minus 1 square, product of other polynomials. M2x is x plus 1 into x minus 1 square. And M3x is x plus 1 into x cube. So how will you find the inverse? So usually want to find inverse modulo x minus a raised to k, it for finding inverses. So let us see how we do it in this case. First polynomial is linear polynomial, x plus 1. So m1x is congruent to m1 of -1 modulo x plus 1 modulo x plus 1. What is m1 of -1? So look at this. M1x is x cube into x minus 1 square. Put x equal to -1. So -1 cube into -2 square. So answer is -4. That's what I have written here. M1x is congruent to -4 mod x plus 1. So what is M1 bar x? It is reciprocal of this, -1/4 mod x plus 1. Okay, now M2x is equal to m plus 1 into x minus 1 square. Now this we write in terms of, okay, so you simplify it and modulo x cube, it is -x square minus x plus 1 because you get, okay. Now the inverse mod x cube, how do you obtain? You use this formula 1 minus y into 1 plus y square equal to 1 minus y cube. So take this, we have to find inverse of 1 minus x square. So you call this as y is equal to x square plus x or x plus x square. So 1 minus y you are getting. What is the inverse of 1 minus y modulo y cube? See, y cube is 0 here because it is modulo x cube. Y cube is 0. Note that. Because y cube is divisible by x cube. So inverse of 1 minus y is 1 plus y square. So evaluate that. 1 plus y square is 1 plus x square plus x square square. But that also we have to reduce modulo x cube, isn't it? We have to reduce it modulo x cube. So m2 bar x is 1 plus x plus 2x square. Square. So to reduce this, we find the inverse and find inverse. First, we express it in powers of x minus 1. So x cube equal to x minus 1 bracket cube. That is into x minus 1. Now you use formula a minus b into a plus b is a square minus b square. That kind of thing we have to use. Okay. M3x M3x is x plus 1 means x minus 1 plus 2, right? 2 into 1 is 2. And 3 into x minus 1 plus 2 into 3 is 6. 6x minus 1 plus 1x minus 1 is 7x minus 1. So you are getting this answer for M3x modulo x minus 1 square. This is by our experience. Because then it becomes 49 into x minus 1 square minus 4. But you know x minus 1. So what is M3 bar x? M3 bar x is minus 1 upon 4 into this term, second term. Right? First polynomial into second polynomial is minus 4. So first polynomial into minus 1 upon 4 into second polynomial is equal to, that is inverse. So we have got M3 bar also. I have crossed 2 minutes, but we started slightly late. So it's okay. Now you put these values here, ARX, MIX, MI bar x, substitute and go modulo. Then you will go get, only you have to substitute for x raised to 6. Because mx is m1 into m3, which is x plus 1 into x cube into x minus 1 square, which is x raised to 6. So this is 0 modulo mx. That final answer. You can verify that this is the final answer. And this is the unique polynomial of least degree satisfying the given conditions. Okay. So this is how I got the answer. So in this, I have actually shown to you how Chinese remainder theorem, which is studied in the number theory context, is used to ring. And what you study in the cognitive algebra course, this Chinese remainder theorem for ideals, there actually this is an application of that, and we get all these formulae in numerical analysis we can easily get. And this is the simplest way of getting all these interpolation formulae in numerical the first, and it does the higher interpolation in a different way. They are not using Chinese remainder theorem. They are using something, I mean, standard other methods. But you can see that if and the other one also is available, numerical analysis. It gives you the first derivative formulation. And these are the two books, number 3 books. So I am through it. So the talk is over. Do you have any questions?
Yes. So this looks like this Hensel's lemma, where you have factorization and then you lift it to if you have a root modulo some prime, then you you can find a root modulo p squared. So can this be formulated in terms of Hensel's lemma?
In Hensel's lemma, it is something different. Hensel's lemma, if you know a local solution, then you get a solution. If you can develop it actually, but here you are not developing. Here are actually given the value. You are in the kind of I would say power series version. If you have a polynomial which has a root and derivative is not equal to 0, then you can have a solution in power series. That kind of.
Okay.
Yeah. You are actually developing that solution and higher derivatives you are obtaining there essentially. But here it is not the case. Here you are. It is not a local global thing. Here you have to give all these things. You have to give the derivative, you have to give the second derivative and so on. The thing is, all these conditions are different conditions. They are for different points.
Right.
All these things together, otherwise you don't know. See, locally you are able to solve it because Chinese, this Taylor's theorem we have. So if you know the derivative and second derivative, etc., at the point, then at that point you are expanding this fx in powers of x minus xi. Now, when all these different conditions are given for different points, how will you put all these things together and get the single polynomial fx, which satisfies all these requirements at different points? That is what you are doing in Chinese remainder theorem. Means you are solving a system of simultaneous equations. All these equations are to be solved simultaneously and get a solution. How do you do that? That is the question here. So the Hensel's lemma question is slightly different than this question.
Okay.
Yes, right. That is the difference. Yes. But it has some connection in that sense. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So are there any other questions, participants? Okay. So if
you tell me if it is available somewhere else, because I don't know. In this simplest form, I did not see it in any book. That's why I was more interested in this. And actually in the books also I have seen that they actually find a derivative and then simplify it. Without finding derivative, they don't seem to have a formula. That is interesting. So this is a new kind of formula that I feel it is there.
Okay.
Okay.
Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, Amar.
Sir, here we find a Chinese remainder theorem for one variable polynomial. But if we consider n variable polynomial, so is it true for also these things? For n variable polynomials.
Of integers, then it is a Euclidean domain. Okay. That is, Euclid's algorithm is valid. And because Euclid's algorithm is valid, you can find the modulo some other polynomial by using the Euclid's algorithm. Now, domain, And there you can
No, I think we have lost him again. So anyways, let us stop here.